And she shared the scripture that we are beautifully and wonderfully made, and my eyes opened to realize that it wasn't an accident that I was created female, and that should be relevant in my life. And I had need to regard that and consider what God had in mind for myself as a woman. What was he trying to create? What was he trying to design? Was he design? Not try to, he designed me. And to relate to that. So I began to think about it. The light bulb went off. The wheels started turning. I began to appreciate the women around me. I moved, my husband and I married in 1973, and we moved to Nevada. And I had no family out there. I didn't have a lot of relationships. I went to church, but I was on the perimeter of the church. I was distinguished males from females, but I wasn't in relationships with these ladies. I would hear information, I would process it, I would identify, but I would try to get truth and principle, and that's all I was looking for. I didn't have them speaking to my life out there either. They did, but maybe I didn't hear it. Not from the point of view of being a woman, just from the point of view of information. I collect information. And so how would I apply this information to my life? Today, because of the ministry, the outreach of women's outreach circles, Learning to Live, now women impacting women, an aspect of it, I listen for women's points of view. I have a greater regard for that. I even listen to myself. When something bothers me, I was a brain. I grew up a brain. Not much emotion, but what do I think about that? You said how you feel, and I couldn't answer you. What do you mean, how do I feel? Is that relevant? Yes, today it's relevant, how I feel. I respect my intuition. If something bothers me, I'm more in tune to it, and that's been an asset in my life. I may not even understand, but I can sense in my inner feeling that that's significant, or watch that, or be careful, or consider that, check that intuition. I'm paying attention to that now. And so it's not just about logic. They just consider me to spark when I was growing up. It's more than logic now. So I'm exploring now women's biblical roles, and I'm delving into that and kind of seeing what was God doing. How was he using them? How might that be relevant to me, Sarah's experience, and how God used her, and what he actually said about her experience. How that if we followed after her, this may not be a quote, but he lets us know if we followed after her example, it's not the outward appearance, it's the inward appearance, without fear. Mixed fear of what's going to happen to us, that self-preservation that we get, that I lived with for decades and decades. How do we be blessed? So Sarah's a big deal to me. Hannah's a big deal to me. Rahab's a big deal to me. Ruth, Naomi, these women, I'm going back and I'm reconsidering their role and their part. More than information, but savoring and extracting knowledge out of that. It's affecting my marriage. Sarah and I we've had conversations. There have been times I just didn't get it, and we just didn't agree. We just didn't agree. However, that's okay. We don't have to agree about everything, but she's hit some key points that have changed my life. It changes how I relate to my husband. And it changes my desire to express myself as a woman. It changes my reaching out to other women and opening up my spirit to let them speak into my life. Before, I don't even think I heard them because my mind was somewhere else, but I'm hearing them. And women have a lot to say, a lot to contribute. I don't care what level of life she's living on. It's precious to me. And there's something, everybody has something to offer. So as I reach out to unwed mothers, and as I reach out to just women in general, and as I can now turn and just regard them, just to say hi, to say hello, to be glad to be in your company, and for that to be, it comes out of your spirit. It makes a difference as you receive them. It just makes a difference. So it gives me a different quality of life. There's a lot of women around me, and as we relate to one another, it changes my quality of life. It adds to it. I'm almost 60. My life is enriched. I'm in Mary Kay now. It started in 2006. I started Mary Kay starting in October of 2010. That's about enriching the lives of women. So we're dealing with the outer beauty, and we're dealing with the inner beauty. and it allows me to cross color lines and cross age lines and speak into the life and have access to women. So I'm sure that Women's River Outreach is a part of my participating in that. It's okay. And I can actually say, last year was a hard year for me. I had never really taken my marriage vow. I purposed to be married for only 2 years because my self-esteem was so low, and I wasn't in any relationship more than 2 years. So I figured in 2 years, he would usually move on from me, so I'm going to move on from him. But I'm going to enjoy this ride as long as it lasts. However, I got saved, and God values marriage something more than that. And I knew that at the time, but I didn't think that wasn't my value. That was God's value. But I embraced God's value, but I was very discontent, very unhappy, year in and year out, because first of all, I didn't know who I was. I didn't appreciate who I was. So for somebody else to appreciate you, they can pick up when you don't appreciate yourself. So no, I don't appreciate him, but fundamentally, I'm learning to appreciate me, and out of that overflow, my husband is being blessed. And I credit that with his ministry, just dealing with those issues. I took the vow of marriage last year, 2012, February 29th, for death do you part, for better or worse, in sickness or in health. I didn't really mean that. I lied the first time. I didn't really enter into that covenant, but I did. My father passed, and my husband was very supportive, and I introduced that covenant out of my heart for the first time. And before God, not before him, because I knew I was going to get upset with him again, so I probably would have broke it. But before God, I took that covenant. But still, I had laid a foundation for a lot of things. His mother had been in our care for 4 years and 6 weeks. And I just figured, I've been in this marriage, it'll be 40 years, the 29th tomorrow, it'll be 40 years. And I figured this isn't taken. Not like what I had in mind. So I was really considering when his mother passed that I would go my way and he would go his way, because basically we're living separate anyway. However, I took that vow from now that you just don't take a vow and then change it. You don't do that. You better not vow at all. But I have to say, Miss Claire showed up on the day his mother passed. She showed up and she said to me a lot of things, and I heard her, but nothing would exist. Not for it can exist. But she came back again, and she gave a final word, and she put it in language that I could understand, something academic. She said that your husband cannot take the wife's final. That meant a lot to me. I have a final to take. I have to pass his test. And it's not about who he is or who he's not. It's about the grace of God in me. He cannot take the wife's final. That just, it made a difference. It set in, it gave me strength to lock into that commitment. And I remember my parents had been divorced for 33 years. And my dad passed in February, my mom passed in July, and his mother was passing in August. That's a lot of different people, but God gave grace. But there was a lot going on. And so it magnifies your differences. Sometimes when you're going through crisis, it brings out what's in you. I remember my parents got divorced, and they both had an opportunity to stand for that relationship, and both of them, when it was their turn, from my conversations with them, they did stand. So I knew that I could stand in my relationship, and this was my opportunity. So God gave me grace. I purposed to stand, but it was that word. It was the fact that I was now. That's 2012. It started in 2006. I had been learning over the years to open up my heart, to open up my life, to let women speak into it, to value what they said, whether we agreed or didn't agree. Because that meant that my heart had been cultivated, that somebody else could have an understanding greater than my own. Because I really leaned a lot on what I thought about life. I made my own decisions, think or swim. I took responsibility. I would go against the world. So that mattered to me when she said that this was my test, the wife's final. And I'm certain today that the only reason why I made it, and I will be making it too strong, is because of that word, that simple sentence. You can't take the wife's final. And I've watched my life improve. I have been going to another church. Now I'm going to church with my husband. And we're doing financial peace university together. And I've been trying, I wanted him to do that for 4 years. But he's a very intuitive man, And no matter all the words I gave him that said I wanted to be a part of his life, he knew I lived in my own world, and I'm trying to get him to adapt to my world. So he wasn't having any of it. But I see now that he knows the difference, and so he comes closer. He's coming out of his man cave, and it's not perfect because we have a lot to overcome, but more has happened this year. I celebrated my anniversary. I haven't celebrated my anniversary probably in 20 years. It didn't matter, you know. But we're going to celebrate our anniversary. And I want to. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
Amen.
That's, again, women impacting the lives of women. And so as we share this with other women, we first we go around this circle, we learn, we have knowledge, we have understanding, then we apply it to our life. And I want to add another point to her circle. We share it with somebody. You know, but she did say something about community, so that's the sharing part, you know. And I want to share. I don't want to share prematurely. I want to see some fruit before I go out there saying I made it. I need to see some more fruit, you know. But I am encouraged, and I encourage women, you know, just to encourage one another. Very, very important. Let's esteem ourselves. Let's be there for one another. And I'm very thankful for women impacting women, and I'm going to do what I can to support it and to live it out in my life and to encourage other relationships. Thank you.